Fantastic. So
Fantastic.
here we are. This is amazing. So both Justin and I live on Facebook on his stream as well as on mine. This is great. So Justin King is well, he's a bit of a legend in the life planning community, certainly in England, and a very exciting man to be engaged with. It's a thrill to have him on my show. He's had me on his show just a few weeks ago, really. Justin and his wife Kathy, who's also been quite active in the various communities that we've been engaged in. But so Justin's a trainer in the life planning community. He's looking to expand that training globally. Right now, to date, he's mostly been in the UK, but we're very excited about those possibilities. He's a financial planner. He specializes in retirement. He's been profoundly engaged in the life planning community from its earliest days in the UK, and has been involved in the Golden Civilization conversations in the UK, and also has spent some time reading the book. So I'm very curious where he is right now. It's awfully good to have you, Justin. Always good to spend time with you. What's
and you, George? And you? Yeah, well, I'm here in Christchurch in Dorset in England, UK. Currently still part of Europe for the next few days. So we have
I shouldn't
no
laugh. I realize this is dangerous territory.
We have really no idea what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. So we met probably about 10 years ago, and I've been through all your trainings and etc. And then we got to a position, obviously, as starting to actually pass on some of your wisdom to other financial planners across the globe and in the UK. So which is great. And yeah, we've had a number of conversations about your newest book, The Global Civilization.
Yeah, fantastic. Golden Civilization. And
sorry.
That's okay. And Justin, I mean, one of the things, I'm always touched when someone is intrigued and engaged in it, and you were from the beginning. And so and you interviewed me early on about it as well. And I'm wondering, what is it that, both from the standpoint of your own work, but also from just what you've experienced in the conversations and in the book, what is it that draws you to it?
Well, obviously the work that I've really been exposed to of yours, George, over the years is helping people finding out what a truly fulfilled life would look like.
Yeah.
And of course, your Golden Civilization to me has expanded on that, and it's not just looking at it from a well, I don't know. I mean, when we have conversations with individuals, we're really trying to understand what would truly fulfill someone, so that we can align their money with meaning in their life. And of course, what we find so often is that it's not about stuff. It's about community, and it's about the world about them. And if you go up kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and you get to the top, that kind of pit where you get to self-actualization, and you kind of go, okay, I've achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, and I'm at peace with the world. So many of the conversations I have are with retirees. They've had a career, they've worked hard, they've achieved lots, they've brought up families, and they are just going, is there something more to this? And they're troubled. They are troubled with the state of the planet, whether it's from an environmental perspective, whether it's from a governance perspective, whether it's from a political perspective. The people are unsettled. And when you have conversations with them, even on an individual life planning basis, that you find that they really care deeply about their community, and they care about their family, and they care about obviously they want to be okay themselves, but they really, most people I talk to for deep conversations want to leave the planet in a better place, in a better way. And this to me is this Golden Civilization. This is this kind of, okay, well, how would we love the planet to look? if there were no obstacles in the way, as we start with individuals, if we were going to dream big, how would it be? How would our communities be? How would our families be? And people are troubled with the amount of angst in the world, the anxiousness and we know that oppressive and the worry and the fears that people have for the younger community, younger people, members of the public coming through, with all the technological changes and yeah, the way politics is so influenced by money and all these things, and people generally, when I talk to them one to one, they don't want this.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so I think your book has really made me think, and the people I've spoken to about it have really tried to work out, and I know you're passionate about it, is what do we envisage a great world to look like?
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. And that the contrast between those two statements that you just made, that when they look at all this, they don't want this. And then the contrast with what does a world look like that they would want, or that we would all want. Tell us about that. How do you move from one to the other? Because I can imagine a lot of people, feeling that they don't want this, feel disempowered by it and can feel lethargic, lacking in vigor, knocked down by it in a variety of ways. So how do you see the difference between those two, and what value is there? And
Well, you're so right, and of course, in the coaching work that that you've trained me to do, which is, so I always kind of go, so we're on Island A, and you'd like to be on Island B. So what do you need? What do you need to get to Island B? What do you need within you to be there? And I'm kind of imagining that we're on planet A at the moment, and we kind of envisage planet B. We want this better place. Um, and you are right. I think people do feel disempowered, but they do on a kind of global political basis. They feel very and with the I think with the control and the power of large organizations. We've seen, haven't we, the banking crisis and what that did, and we're all still paying for it. We're seeing what happened with politics and Facebook and Google and all these types of things that they are these organizations, even if they haven't intended to be, they have become very powerful. Um, and I think people do feel disempowered by that. And I'm trying to encourage people to do what is it that you can do? What is it that, I do positively think if we were all living a true fulfilled life plan, that we were living on purpose. And as you know, every person that you ever talk to, who, if you get to what's hidden inside them, it comes down to kind of community, it comes down to family, it comes to arts, it comes to entrepreneurship. Um, and as you know, the word entrepreneurship can concoct the wrong connotation, because it's straight away, it's kind of aligned to money nowadays. But actually, this is not the definition that I understand. It's entrepreneurship of spirit, of wanting to create and to deliver value to other people in their community. And I do think, if even on the disempowerment is important, is important. If your thing is that you want to go and parade with a placard, or if get inside a political group and work within that, then that's great, because we need people to do that type of thing. But I think on a localized level, if I could imagine that every community around me that was filled full of individuals who were living a truly fulfilled life, I think that we would be supporting each other, we would be caring for each other, we would be looking after each other, we would be collectively talking with a more positive voice. And instead of being full of, well, he's got that and they've got that, and egos and trying to compete with our neighbors, we would be trying to support our neighbors to live great lives themselves. And if the communities across the country or even across the world were all doing that, there would be a bigger voice
Yeah.
against these very powerful organizations.
Mm, mm, mm. Wow, wonderful. So if I can just interpret that and maybe find a way to move further with that. So it's interesting what we talk about, what I've talked about, in the book, kind of the large frame of the book and the movement, the Golden Civilization Conversation movement, is that what we're attempting to do is to life plan civilization, because many of us find ourselves unhappy with directions that it's going in. And again, whether it's environment or it's politics or it's economics, whatever it is. And what you've just done in a really wonderful way is shared how one of the solutions to that problem that we face in civilization is actually on the most local and individual of levels, which is that this experience of life planning, where what happens for someone who goes through a life planning experience for themselves is life planned, let's say, for themselves, is that they get on fire with what you're calling entrepreneurial spirit, what we both know as entrepreneurial energy. It could be something as simple as taking care of their infant child. It doesn't have to be, it's not out there with venture capital and private equity necessarily. It's really about our just being alive in the world. And what you're articulating in a really wonderful way, Justin, for me at least, is that if everybody was on fire in that way about their life and about their contribution to their local community or to larger civilization, because it's what their life plan tells them that they really want to do and they're engaged in it, that the world itself would be a lot closer to a golden civilization just simply because of that. Am I interpreting you right?
Absolutely. That's my view of the golden civilization. That's the I myself feel powerless against these large organizations and the political parties, and total frustration to the way they behave and the integrity and the ethics of our leaders. And then I think, okay, so what can you do? Well, you can live your own life plan, and you can, and if you build your community full of spirit and kindness and generosity, of the people around you, and then we could let that spread from community to community, that we were caring and sharing and what have you, then I think we kind of overrun everything else. The leaders have to listen to us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's one of our thoughts, and moreover in the small. I mean, we're trying to organize these golden civilization communities everywhere. We've had conversations now, I think, on 5 continents, and hundreds of them, it seems. I've only been party to maybe 60 or 70 of them. But the notion that we are doing that individually, but that as we grow, as these small exercises in participative democracy happen everywhere and begin to communicate with each other, they begin to have ways of articulating to those who are in political power or to who we vote for, that there's another way of making this work, and that isn't about money and politics, or isn't about powerful institutions or powerful people dominating, but it's about us, the people themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
lovely, lovely. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to share, Justin? It's great to have you here. I mean, this is amazing. There you are in England, and you're facing your own version of what we're facing in America, with 2 camps, and each of us has our side that we're on, just totally in opposition. And you're right at the moment where something dramatic is likely to occur, and nobody knows what.
You know, it's funny what you just said there, George, about two things in opposition.
Yeah.
I think this is the fundamental, to me, this is the fundamental problem. Um, if I'm in if I'm in a argument with someone else's conviction, we'll never agree. As we know, that your convictions are very, right the way through you. But that doesn't. We don't need to get into an argument about each other's convictions. We actually just need to look at the problem. So if I come back to my island A to island B, we may. So let's say I'm on an island, and you and we're both on this island, and we disagree politically. Let's say, ideologically, we disagree. Maybe you're on one side and I'm absolutely on the other side. We can still get together because we can look at island B and say, guys, both of us want to get over there. So it doesn't matter ideologically that whether we don't care for each other's views. All we actually need to do is concentrate on the problem. And the problem is that we need to get to island B.
Yeah.
So if we both sit there and say, forget our differences, let's just look at what we've got to try and solve ourselves because we want to get to island B, then we can forget our ideological kind of ways of looking at things and just actually look at the problem that we're trying to solve and just say, look, we've got two heads here rather than one. Let's both combine our kind of collective brain powers to this and work out how we can get to island B. Yeah. So we need to attack the problem rather than attack each other.
Yeah,
and is my view. We don't need to become polarized. Yeah. So the Brexit thing to me would be simply just, guys, look, we've had a vote. It's called democracy. They say that we're coming out. Whether you agree with that or not, that is the vote. I mean, that's what happened. So I kind of go, I wasn't a fan of coming out of Brexit, but I kind of go, well, that was the vote. So that's kind of what I signed up for. I signed up for a scenario where we vote for something, and one says, oh, then that's it. But then we come down to this exit scenario. Instead of complaining about about each other, just go, we've all got to deliver the thing that people have voted for. So let's just look at that problem and not try and score points off each other, because it's not about that. It's just about doing what we set out to do. So I just think I think it's all a bit back to front.
Yeah. And in the context of a golden civilization, Planet B is the golden civilization.
Yeah.
And Planet A is a civilization right now where you do have these opposing camps. And even if you want to go to Planet B in a different way from how I want to go to Planet B, in a democracy, you could be working on your solutions, I could be working on my solutions, and hopefully they would integrate in a way at some point so that we would both get to Planet B, where we want collaboration, we want excitement, we want vitality, we want community, we want integrity, we want freedoms. We all want the same thing.
I think we do. Yeah. I think we do. So we need to look at the problems and not look at attacking each other.
Yeah.
It is my kind of naive perspective.
Yeah. A naive perspective is often the best. Going back to childhood, where children know that kindness really makes a difference. Of course, but that's a whole nother realm. I'm wondering if there's anything else you'd like to share. This has been wonderful to spend this time with you. Anything else about the Golden Civilization, about the book, or the?
I don't think so, George. I think. Yeah, I just think that you're right with your passion and your mission that you want more people to be having this conversation about what are we all dreaming of? What does it look like? What does a great world look like? And when people feel disempowered, just understand that even small baby steps can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be, as you rightly say, it could be just helping a neighbor out. It could be, I don't know, picking some litter up from, whatever it may be, but just making some positive progress and go, I've done something. And if we were all doing something, the collective, the volume of the people on the planet doing something positive would be fantastic.
There's a saying, and I've got it here, I just happen to have it here, that's related to that. And it's related to being in a small group and feeling, even in that small group, of course, disempowered and questioning whether you can get anywhere. And this is from Margaret Mead. Maybe you've heard it. It's a wonderful quote. It's, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Yeah.
So thank you, Justin King. Wonderful to see you. My best to your family.
Thank you, George.
And
And you.
I hope I'll see you next month when I travel across the ocean to the United Kingdom.
I'm looking forward to it, George.
Great. Thanks so much, Justin.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.